this is Justin Taylor with Ensemble. We want to give you some tips with your bang pieces. Taylor just got one and we were fiddling with it, trying to figure out some little things we could tell you when you're restyling it at home. When we ship it to you, it's in a box the whole time it gets there. So when you pull it out, it can look a little different than how I styled it before I put it in the box. So we thought we have some tips for you. Okay, so this is Taylor's. I'm gonna have her demonstrate how she puts it on. One thing to keep in mind, this is not fact, but this is just the guide that I use when I'm cutting and styling your piece, is I put the tag in the back. So if you ever get it and you're like, I'm not sure which way it's supposed to go, the tag is always the back. At least that's what I went off of. So when you're placing it on your head, also, we wanted to show you it with a piece that has an actual bang shape cut into it, because there's just some extra steps you might need to use. So again, this is the back, this is the front. And also when I asked you for a measurement about your bang length, I said to measure from 1 inch behind your hairline. And the reason is because the width of this clip is about 1 inch. So I'm assuming that you're gonna place it there. But if you put it on and you feel like it's a little bit too long and you don't wanna go get it cut, you can scoot it further back on that hairline. You don't have to keep it right up front. So there's a lot of flexibility with this piece. That's also why it's so popular, because it's more of a modular setup. It's not set in one place. Okay, go ahead and demonstrate. So a couple tips. When you're clamping, you wanna scoop one side, clamp it down, hold it down, pull and scoop and push down. So the reason why is because if you have really fine hair, I feel like this is more important, you don't want to have like a, if you don't pull it tight, it will kind of like sit at a triangle on top of your head, but you don't necessarily want to pull on your hair. So if you clamp it down, it's very secure. It does not take much to secure it. Hold it with your hands while you're pulling and scooping to clamp on the other side. So that will make it a really flat top. There's no difference between her hair all the way to the bang. Another tip, that makes it really secure too. So we include a comb for a reason, not just to brush it out, but it's this very small, intricate piece, and it takes a comb to just make it perfect. So if you put your head down, sorry. So in the back here, since she wasn't up close, couldn't see a mirror, all that, perfect example, she has some of her hair tucked in behind the bang. This is just little things. It doesn't matter, you don't have to do it, but if you want, if it's bothering you, take the tail of your comb and scoop the hair out from the bang so that then you can kind of zhuzh it behind. Same thing if you're choosing to place your bang further back and it's more of just like a top filler piece, then you want to do the same thing in the front and the back of the bang piece. Put your head up. So it's a little bit more intricate, but that just gives you room to kind of zhuzh your own hair around it and have it not see a height difference, not see it go from poofy to flat. Another reason we have a comb is if you want to kind of tease it a little bit, just pick up little sections, lightly tease, because when you first get these out of the box and when you first wash them, they can be kind of flat because they're so silky and shiny. So to give it a little bit more texture, it makes it look more realistic. You can use your comb you can put a tiny bit of like a dry shampoo spray or a very light texture spray and just give it a little bit more of a lived-in texture. So you can use a comb and finish that way. Another thing, especially when you have a front bang, so what helps it look the way that it's supposed to is kind of having her turn to the side maybe. So you see how her bang comes out a little bit, has a little bit of curl, has some volume to it. That helps it look more realistic. So when she first picked it up off the counter, it was looking like it had been laying like this. So then when you pick it up, instead of it having like a limp curl like it's supposed to, it was kind of like, you know what I mean? It was just sitting funny. So all we do is take a hair dryer on low power, but medium to high heat, and just warm it up in your hand. So you're just holding it in your hand, you're warming it up, and it will just start to kind of bend over. I hope that makes sense. Another step, if that's just not enough, then you wanna grab, don't worry, this is off. You wanna grab a curling iron, and you're not gonna clamp it because we don't wanna drag over the topper piece, but we're just gonna leave it a tiny bit open like this because I really just want the heat. But if I just place it on top, it doesn't like have any control. So I do put it inside the clamp, I just don't close it all the way. And then I'll pick it up in layers. So this is not the front piece of her bang, this is a layer that's sitting on top. And I'll grab my iron and just loosely put a bend in it like that. And it gives it some height and volume just to make it fluffy and fresh. If you have one that's more of a face frame and not the same type of look, then you don't need to do that, and it's probably easier to style. But I don't want you to have to wash these pieces every time you go to wear it because you feel like it needs to be restyled. These little things are things you can do just to give it some oomph, and it's supposed to be a low maintenance piece. Same rules apply if you're gonna be facing it backwards or you have two back to back and you want some volume. You can again just warm it up with a hair dryer, and then you can grab an iron and loosely curl it. That would make a huge difference. So these are just a few tips to do once you have your piece at home. This also works if you have a bank shape cut into your original fall. Same tricks apply. So grab your comb, use the tail of it to just pull some extra hairs out so you don't have a height difference from your hair to the topper piece. Use the hair dryer to warm it up. Use a curling iron to loosely put a bend in it. And also, if you have a slight color difference, whether you have grays coming in or you just got your hair colored and it hasn't faded a little bit, you can always grab a root spray, or there's been some root applicators that are more like, they're more of a makeup type. It's a sponge that you like rub into a pod and then you just pat it. So you can grab one of those. I have a few brands that I like. I'll put them in the comments. And that can also help with blending too while you're in between colors. So anyways, if you have more questions or need more tips, put them in the comments. We're happy to help. And if you send us a video of you putting it in your hair, that's always way more helpful too, because it's something that just might need to be tweaked. So if you haven't heard of us before, we're EnsembleHair. We do all this online virtually. I'll also put our inquiry form in the comments so that you can inquire and we can talk about your options.